And this one is a doozy. When we read between the lines, we can still see the value. It's a story that can help you understand what the hell is going on with your relationship and, better yet, how to thrive in it.
The following program contains scenes of coarse language. Viewer discretion is advised.
So what is the red pill? At its core, it's men getting together and swapping notes. Now, for over a decade, men have realized just how much we've been led to believe things. The beauty of experience is that you get a feel for a story. This is where game, no matter how strange, game is based on men observing what behaviors are attractive. The beauty is you can just tell who's on the other side, truly understanding social dynamics and the role they play in human interaction. They don't want you to know, my name is importantly, what it is they're hiding from themselves. Who is swapping notes. Like you, I was good at relationships, but not great. Ran into hardships, stuff that seemed to be just unknowable complexity of a relationship, and oh, how wrong I was. So after talking about things, trying things, and comparing notes with hundreds of thousands of men, we've come to understand things better, to succeed, to thrive, and to live well in all the ways that matter to us. So, what's the red pill? It's men swapping notes, iron sharpening iron. Welcome to the locker room. So the first thing to do is just look at this. This, surprisingly common, although this guy did way more than other people. It basically reads like a 4chan green text, where he's trying to writing his life without any kind of basically none of this matters. This is all just random details, and the first thing you can usually tell is that somebody's obfuscating their life because of it. But I'll get to the important part. Here comes the next nightmare. She tried to hide the pregnancy after we came home and starts planning an abortion. When I figured it out, she starts claiming the pregnancy is ectopic. I investigate and get evidence that the embryo's healthy. She gets angry when confronted and goes ahead with the abortion anyway. I'm heartbroken and devastated for her pleas to reconsider. She says she doesn't want to bring a kid into this unstable relationship. I try to make amends, and we try to do nice things for another to improve it. Then she brings our boy to her mother's abroad because the daycare is closed for a while. When she comes home, she says she'll stay for another day in a city in a meeting with a friend. My suspicion goes off. I call her and demand proof that she's not with the college guy. She freaks out and instead stays away another weekend. I wait in front of the guy's house, and next morning I see her come out of the apartment building. I confront and announce our relationship to be over. I go to my GP, get a sick leave chit to organize things. The wife proceeds to convince me she slept on his couch, that she cannot be around my accusations and fighting anymore, and he is just her shoulder to cry on, emotional tampon. She even shows me her abortion period blood, as in, since we are not having sex. What the hell? Yeah, she's crazy at this point. This was 3 weeks ago. She slept in our house one night since then. She's looking for a new place to live. My boy is set to be at grandma's till January. I miss him dearly as we have a close bond. I started dating after I refreshed my old knowledge. My wife is actually encouraging the dating as she thinks it will help me lose my obsession with her. I ignore her mostly, but she keeps trying to reel me back in, occasionally saying she misses me and our family. She's out all the time, meeting new people as well. She says the other guy is not a good fit for her, but she likes the emotional support. She says she is hurt by me because I didn't love her enough and fix her depression. It's true I neglected her, but I had a baby in my arms while doing so. I started to her, she can be one of my plates, but due to the broken trust, I cannot consider monogamous marriage, at least for the next 2 years. She cried after this, then the next day was completely oblivious and went out partying. All the while, with our son, being there to take care of grandma for the next 2 months. My heart still aches, but then I seek some support from friends and parents. Other times I'm working, lifting in the gym, and meeting new women and eating good food. This situation is beyond absurd, but I gotta get back to my non-exclusive plate spinning so I can rid myself of my emotional dependencies on my wife. Any other thoughts or tips what to do at this stage? A couple terms before we get started. You don't get to have kids. This is something that a lot of people find very offensive, but for the most part, it's true. I already am not entirely convinced that this guy's story is legit. It hits a lot of the talking points, and it sounds like the guy's basically got autism. But I figure it's a good learning experience, so here we are. For this, you have to understand that if she doesn't want to have kids, she's not going to have kids. Between Plan B, birth control, abortions, adoptions, they even have safe harbor laws. You can basically dump a brand new baby off at an orphanage and no questions asked, no law. So no girl has a baby unless she wants to have a baby. Having said that, guys don't get that luxury. Guys, we're basically brought along as passengers. While our input is nice, we essentially have no control over this. So you have to understand they aren't your kids. You get to sire children, but they're generally hers. And so what am I suggesting here? Well, it's not that you can't, bond with your kids. We're kind of naturally inclined to do that. And why wouldn't you love your kids? What monster would suggest otherwise? Just be aware that if loss were to happen, there's nothing you can say or do about it. So you need to be okay with the understanding of that uncertainty. Letting life happen to you, surprisingly common. Most times guys will come in with their random stories and field reports, and it's the same thing. They basically dump their autobiography on the lap of random internet strangers, and at the end of it go, all right guys, any tips? What should I do? It's like, first off, you don't want us answering that. You've got to accept the fact that nobody has your best interest at heart but you. And so asking random internet strangers is not going to do you any better because people are just going to unload their own bias. What you should be doing is coming there with a proposed solution, things you've tried, and then guys can help you do it the best way you can, but you have to point your own direction. Burying the lead. Again, another super common thing that guys do, especially when it comes to relationships. They throw out all these details, of which 99% make no difference whatsoever. And then there's always going to be something very important, somewhere in line 536. Like, you'd be surprised how many guys sit here and talk about their waning sex life and complain about their girl for about 3 or 4 paragraphs until in a small throwaway sentence throw in, she just had a miscarriage, or she's pregnant, or something that would really kind of put some context into the situation that would actually let a guy know what the issues are. But people always bury it. Now, it could be because guys don't know. And if you don't know, you're just going to throw everything there to see what sticks. In which case, your issue is you're completely unobservant. But what I suspect is happening is that most people do know these important things, and they chose to ignore them for whatever reasons. Their ego's in the way. Maybe they can't accept the fact that something on there is their fault. In this case, I guarantee you there's a lot of stuff he's hiding, and had he answered any questions, you'd probably discover he had a whole bunch of things that he could have addressed here. But like I said, they bury the lead instead, so that way they don't have to address it, because they just want to hear that the other person's an ass and that they're good and whatever they're doing is right. My advice for this guy is just, what's the point? He's gonna do what he's gonna do. Like, I've talked with enough of these kind of guys. They're the ones that did pickup in like the 2000s, moved on. Children with dynamite decided, I'm going to use this trick to get a girlfriend, and then I'm going to go back to my old stupid way of doing things and then be surprised when my life blows up in my face. But you can't tell me. I already know what I'm doing. I got this, guys. So any advice you give this guy, he's just going to argue with you. And then you're going to come back saying something like, well, you're here hat in hand. Why are you arguing with us trying to help you? To which you realize you're doing a covert contract trying to help a guy who doesn't want to be helped. He just wants an attaboy, give him a pat on the back or call him a name, and then just be done with it. Save your time for people who are worth some effort. The reason this matters for you is because this guy is completely self-unaware. While yes, I say that writing things down is the best way to do things, you can't just write things down for the sake of it. This is exactly the same as when you tell guys who have approach anxiety to approach 1,000 women or 100 women or whatever number they want to give. And then you see these guys just basically running through the numbers to get the numbers done. They're not actually running through the numbers so they can learn the skills that they need to get better at it. They think 100 is some magical skill, and once you cross that line, all of a sudden girls give you attention. And I'm betting you anything he's one of these guys, because he seems to do the same thing with his marriage. All he does, keep trying, writing things down, 100 things, 1,000 things. Once that's done, a solution will come out of it. So if you take anything from this, and I know you should, it's that being self-aware of your limitations, your problems, your side of the equation, the stuff you can handle, is very important, because while I've learned a whole lot about how horrible this woman is, I don't know how horrible this guy is, and I guarantee he's pretty bad, and he could use a lot of help, but he doesn't want it. So don't be that guy. Or do, and just stay out of my playhouse. So an alternative for this one is straightforward. Stick with your pickup thing. That's great. Have your fun. Realize, though, that the game doesn't stop the instant you get a girlfriend. Don't adopt what they call a Madonna whore complex, where you think all the girls that fall for your pickup tricks must be broken and damaged because they don't love the real you, they love the act you're putting on. Completely missing the point. When you're doing this stuff, it's just learning to skill, and the skill is how to be attractive to more women. At that point, deal with your own demons on your own time, because those are the things that are going to matter, especially when you transition to a relationship, because it's no longer a case where you just have to be on for 8 hours once a week. The rest of the weekend, you can go off to your own stupid self doing your own stupid things. No, you kind of got to be on all the time. Like, you can't really do an opinion opener when you've lived with somebody for 10 years and they know all of your bullshit and they've seen you naked crying in your sleep. So you have to learn how to be attractive, confident with yourself. A lot of the stuff we talk about in Red Pill, be someone aloof, only be invested when you're invested back, psychologically handle all your stuff. It's very, it's simple, but it's not easy. But, you know, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. So, and beyond that, when things go south, stop clinging. Like in this case, once he decided that his relationship is over, and by he, I mean his wife decided, once she decides it's over, it's over. Stop trying to play to get back. Stop trying to play these goofy games. Yes, she took the kid. There's nothing you can do about that. She took it to a different country, gave it to grandma. Yes, you miss your kid, but there's nothing you can do. Or maybe there is. If there's a case of like child kidnapping, then yeah, conduct a report to your local authorities, see what happens there. But that's the point. These are logistic problems, and he's not taking any of them. He's literally just walking through this thing as like a passenger on this life, when he should be taking the reins and doing it himself. But again, this is such a fantastical field report. I'm kind of half convinced that somebody made this up. It hits way too many of the proper MGTOW talking points for it to be an actual life situation. Having said that, though, his reaction to us taking it down has been pretty legit. So either he's really good at holding to character, or it's entirely possible that this one's a real one. So I guess we'll find out. On that note, nothing more I can offer on this one, so we're going to leave it there. And as always, thanks a lot for tuning in. Don't forget, Patreon's still going strong. Come on in, check it out. We don't charge till the end of the month, so you can give it a couple weeks, see if you enjoy the content we put in there. As always, the books in Amazon stores right now, oh, there it is. What you're looking at there is the special edition one we had made for the guys that came to our Rule Zero event back in the summer. But on that note, I'll leave you to it. Cheers.